So, talking about it in the opening with my friend Sandra Smith, why are gas prices hitting record highs every single day? Here to talk about it, North Dakota Senator Kevin Cramer, our great friend. Senator Cramer, a little birdie told me that you met or were on the phone with some big shot oil execs. And the reason I ask is, we don't need to name names or anything like that.
Sure.
But it is interesting to me that the Baker Hughes rig count has kind of leveled off. And it really never, had the big V-shaped recovery in the first place, despite record oil prices and despite record gasoline prices, for example. So I wondered what you thought about that and what these oil executives had to say about that.
Well, thanks, Larry. First of all, I think they and I would agree with everything Sandra Smith said because she knows a lot about it as well, and she's right on point. But what the executives are telling me is intuitive to those of us that follow markets, and that is that the reason the rig count hasn't gone up is because they need longer-term certainty to make the type of investments required to meet the demand. Now, you've been talking a lot about the supply-demand differential, and I think that's by design. It appears to me that Democrats in the White House are trying to starve demand by starving the supply. The problem is they're doing almost irreparable damage to the economy and to global security in the process. So hopefully they can make a correction here soon.
I mean, I was thinking the regulatory policies are so anti-oil, anti-fossil. So let's say if you got a lease, you can't get a permit, okay? And if you got a permit by chance, it'll take you a heck of a long time to get one. But ESG policies coming from Wall Street and banks won't finance your project. So therefore, why should you follow prices up with more investment? That's the normal way of doing it because you don't think there's much of a future. In other words, no permits, lots of ESG, lack of financing. That's the way I see it.
Well, those are major problems, obviously, in the value chain, but even getting the easement in the first place or the lease in the first place has proven to be difficult, and on purpose. Just in the last couple of weeks, the president has canceled 3 major federal leases. You're exactly right. The applications for permits to drill take longer and longer to get if you can get them at all. And to your point, the ESG movement has sent very negative signals to the investment community. However, I do think, Larry, that you're seeing a little bit of that change in $120 a barrel oil or $5, $6, $7 a gallon gasoline causes some of that change to take place because the American public will not tolerate having, the administration peeing down their back and tell them it's raining. They know better.
I'm also told by some people in the industry, as well as some people on the Hill, that there's a big problem with refining. There's not enough refining capacity. So we're seeing the gasoline market is undersupplied, they say, relative to rising demand. Even at higher gas prices, demand is still going up. The gasoline market is undersupplied. Refiners can't refine, and maybe that's because pipelines can't pipeline, and maybe all that goes back to the regulatory problem with the Bidens.
Well, first of all, Larry, you know darn well to permit a new refinery, if anybody was even inclined to build one in this climate, would take so long that the markets would go up and down multiple times before it would ever be online. Adding refining capacity to existing refineries is more likely, and that is happening in some cases, but you're exactly right. None of that happens quickly. Remember, we lost some refining capacity during the pandemic when the demand was so low, and the market signals, again, being sent by this administration before the recovery even, sent the wrong incentives to refining companies to keep refineries open. So all of this rhetoric matters in addition to the regulations. It all piles on. And to me, Larry, I think there's still lots of opportunity for those that have the courage to step up and invest. Demand is not going to go away quickly, and the attitude of the American public, the global public, and frankly the investment community, I think, is shifting to a more realistic 2022 scenario rather than the 2050 aspirations and fantasies of John Kerry and Gina McCarthy.
Well, well put. At home, you're talking $5 a gas nationwide, $5 a gallon nationwide. You're talking a lot higher in the western states. You're also talking higher in some of the northeastern states. I mean, what is the political feedback here? Because, this is an honest question, I mean, look, I'm a conservative politically, and so are you. But I'm just saying, it astonishes me that the Bidens are, I won't say ignoring this, but their answer to it is so inadequate. And there's been no real fundamental change in their view of oil and gas, best I can tell. How about yourself?
No, I agree. In fact, you could look at the long list of regulations and rhetoric since the very beginning, since Joe Biden took office. And as recently as the last week, a couple of new regulations have been talked about by the EPA. One, 401 water permits that they're giving, again, by the way, you might recall, because you were part of it, when the Trump administration passed some relief in the 401 permitting area, the Supreme Court of the United States upheld that relief. And now this administration's undoing that. Additionally, last week, they announced some regulations coming out of the EPA dealing with more traditional pollutants, where at the distribution and the storage levels of the fuels, liquid fuels value chain, again, adding one more layer of burden on an already overly burdened commodity. I think, Larry, I think we should all just admit their goal is to starve the demand by starving the supply, because they have this fantasy that next year everybody's going to be driving an electric vehicle and the government will pay for it. It's absurdity, and it's time for not just Republicans but industry to push back against this and tell the president to his face, this can't work. Well,
I think a lot, I mean, politically, I think a lot of independents are going to push back against this. You know, people who are not registered. Janet Yellen testified today, Senator. I mean, maybe you heard it. I don't know. Maybe you were at the testimony. And she said the answer is more solar and wind. And I don't think there has to be a mix. We've talked about this a dozen times. There has to be a mix. You're not going to have all renewables. There has to be a mix.
There has to be a mix. For one thing, in the electricity sector, you have to have reliable electricity if you're going to have a reliable grid. You have to have a fuel that's 100% there 100% of the time. None of those are. By the way, with regard to solar, 75% of the supply chain of a solar panel comes from who? China. Do we really want to be further, connected to China when we ought to be divorcing ourselves from China? I don't think so. This is what gets me, Larry, the geopolitical ramifications of many of these policies are equally as bad as our own economic ramifications. So it's just word salad designed to appease a very far left fringe of their party, which, by the way, isn't so much a fringe as it has become the base of their party. And this is why, as you say, the cavalry's coming. But when the cavalry arrives on November 9th, the day after the election, we've got to have a plan to reverse a bunch of this.
I'm with you on that, too, and we'll caucus on that, sir. It's another segment. I'm going to come down there, and we're going to caucus on the cavalry, what their menu is on the cavalry. Senator Kevin Cramer, North Dakota, thanks, sir, as always.